Welcome back to Digitize Your Biz. I'm your host, Colette Prince, and if you've just joined us, we're discussing search engine optimization tools and practices for your business. Still with me in studio is Managing Director of Fast Forward Marketing, Uray Naran Prasad. Uray, before the break, we were just breaking down the fundamentals of SEOs, and before the break, you mentioned something about ranking first on your Google page. Why is that so important?
Well, let's think about our own behavior. How often do we go, when we're searching on Google, do we go to page 2, 3, 5, 10? Almost never.
True.
So exactly. When ranking on Google, on the first page, obviously you get much more exposure of your products, you increase your brand awareness, you increase your online visibility, and you obviously drive more leads and sales. And that's what SEO is about. It's about getting that traction, getting that traffic, and converting that traffic into leads. So that's why you have to be on the first page, because everybody is on the first page, or want to be on the first page, should I say.
So what are businesses doing correctly that are on the first page that businesses say on page 10, which we never go to, aren't doing correctly?
Well, there's twofold. One is some businesses rank purely because of traffic. So if you're a corporate and you're getting 1 million odd visitors to your site, Google's going to rank you purely because they see it as you adding value to those 1 million people, right? The other option is based on relevancy. So those others that are ranking on the first page, they've implemented an SEO strategy, and based on that strategy, that's why they're ranking. It could also be that it's a very niche market and you've done just the bare minimum and then you would rank. But if it's a competitive industry, then it's obvious that they have an SEO strategy in place. That's what makes them rank.
And it's argued that without an effective SOE, websites and businesses won't organically appear on search engine results page. What does it mean to organically appear, and what does it mean to be on a search engine results page?
Well, that's not 100% accurate, purely because, like I said, corporates who get 1 million odd visits to their site, Google is going to rank them anyway, right? Because they see the value. But in ranking, it doesn't mean that you're getting targeted traffic and you're not getting the right conversions. So you're getting the traffic, but you're not getting targeted traffic. And the reason why is because one is they don't have an effective SEO strategy, and it's purely based on users coming to the site. But if you implemented an effective SEO strategy, that's going to help you rank for many keywords. So as an example, if I'll use the example again, if you were ranking for couches, you would always rank the homepage for couches. But if I was looking for something more specific, like a light brown leather couch, the ranking will still be there, but you're not speaking to my pain point or issue, and I'm not gonna be able to come to your site and want to convert. Whereas what we do is we find what those keywords are, and we optimize your website and get you ranking for those keywords in order to convert. So that's the big difference there.
So can you just speak me through the process of how one would actually get started to get ranked?
Okay, cool. So our process is quite in-depth, but I'll give you just an overview and elaborate on a few points. So one is, the first thing we do is we do an SEO audit. So we unpack what the issues or problems are that prohibit search engines from actually indexing, crawling your site, and actually ranking you on the first page, right? And obviously we need to know how to resolve that. Step 2 is we look at the keywords that people are actually searching for on Google that pertains to your products, your services, and your brand, and then we try and optimize for that. And then the step 3 is we look at on-site optimization, all the elements that fall within that scope in terms of optimization, and we also getting other websites to link back to you, which is called off-site optimization. Each one of these are strategies on their own, right? We also look at your content, and there's a whole content strategy around that, where we say, okay, if these are the 20-odd, 30-odd keywords you're ranking for, we need content to support that keyword based on optimization techniques and efforts to get you ranking. So that's what we do in a nutshell, right? If I could just start you. To give you an example of how in-depth it is, our analysis alone takes anything between 80 and 120 hours, depending on how competitive your industry is, depending on how big your website is, and depending also in terms of what keywords you want to actually rank for. So it's quite in-depth.
Yeah. So it seems as though SEOs are trying to drive consistent traffic or consumers onto people's pages, but I do know that there are some reports where people's pages don't actually convert. Why is that the case, and how does one combat that issue? Yeah.
So from an SEO perspective, the primary objective is to rank on the first page, right? So if that happens, that means your SEO is actually doing a great job. In converting, that's basically a whole different other service offering, and that's called conversion rate optimization, where it's a whole list of tools that basically analyze the user behavior and the propensity to convert. Now, with us, what we do differently is we incorporate conversion rate optimization in our SEO strategy, because we understand that users don't just want traffic, they want targeted traffic that's going to convert. So what we do is we look at those pages that are not converting, we unpack what are the issues, how do we resolve it, and we do something called A/B testing, where we look at the same page, we create different versions of the page and we tweak each one slightly. And then we continuously drive traffic and we see which one converts better. And then we keep making continuous improvements until we get to a point where we say, okay, great, this is the page that's converting. Once we do that, then we know this is the page we now need to optimize from an SEO perspective. And once you optimize that page now is going to get much more exposure on Google, because remember, you're getting traffic either way and you're converting. And now because it's optimized, you're going to get much more traffic and many more sales.
So now that we understand briefly how SEOs work and how we can use that to optimize our business's visibility, how can a business integrate that into Google or Facebook or other social media marketing platforms for remarketing?
100%. So currently, if you are doing Google AdWords or if you're doing Facebook paid ads, that means you're actually driving traffic to your website or either to your actual campaign page, right? Remarketing basically means that you're targeting users that previously came to your website but didn't convert. Right? And obviously you're getting a conversion rate of X amount. Now what we do is we look at that page and we understand, again with our conversion tools, what are the issues, how do we resolve it, and once we know how to resolve it, we optimize that page now from an SEO perspective to get that page ranking. So like I said, so now you're actually driving traffic from a Facebook perspective as well as from an SEO and an AdWords perspective, and it's giving that page much more traction and much more exposure, hence more leads.
So SEO sounds great, it sounds fantastic, but I think the question on many people's mind is, how much does it cost?
Well, currently in this day and age, it roughly starts from about, I'm talking about 4K up to about 10K for an SME business. And that depends on quite a few factors. One is, how big is your website? Like, do you have a 5-page website versus a 100-page website? Are you in a competitive industry? Are you selling flowers versus are you selling insurance or property, as an example? Also, how many keywords do you want to target? And that's how the pricing structure starts from. We specifically don't have a specific package. What we do is our packages are all customized. So we do some analysis on your industry, on your website, on the keywords, and then we come up with a costing. And our costing is obviously during the COVID-19 pandemic is much more affordable, and our prices roughly starts from about 2.5 per month. Obviously depending on the keywords we want to target, etc.
So if I'm a startup, what would be some of the digital marketing services that you would implement for me to start with?
Well, it obviously depends on your business objectives. So one is, are you looking for awareness for your brand? And if that's the case, then maybe social media may be the ideal opportunity for you. So one is, it could be Facebook. So if you have a product that's visually appealing, say you sold flowers or wedding gowns as an example. So Facebook could be the best platform for you to expose yourself, right? On the flip side, if you came to me and said, look, I'm starting a business and I really want leads and sales on the onset, then I would suggest you have to be on Google, because that's where everyone starts and look for stuff. And on Google, there's 2 solutions. One is Google AdWords and SEO, and that would be your strategy there.
That's Uray Narayan Prasad, Managing Director at Fast Forward Marketing. If you want to get a hold of Uray and his team, visit their website at ffrw.co.za. Stay tuned, because after the break, we have so much more.